Hello, everyone. This is Hadrian.
Hey, folks, I'm Mal.
Thank you so much for being here. It is time at long last, in so many more ways than one, to jump into a new co-op series in Master of Orion Conquer the Stars. And we've got a bit to talk about before we get started. But first, my friend, it has been an age.
It has, and I guess it's a good thing that people have been asking when is there going to be more. When is there going to be more Master of Orion? When is there going to be more Bromance? And in particular, when are we gonna see or hear from Hadrian again? So I won't take it as a personal affront that I have people asking me about you. I won't take it as an affront.
To Mal's followers, I have been living under a rock, and it's been very difficult to find me because it's just which rock, and trying to echolocate, basically a giant game of Marco Polo, trying to figure out where exactly I've been this whole time. But I'm here now. Mal found me, and we can record our Master of Orion. So we've got a game set up to talk about, and this is not going to be a very, very long episode 0, but given that it is the release, one thing that I wanted to talk about real quick with everybody is, in the past, for both my series solo Let's Plays, for Mal's solo Let's Plays, and for the stuff where we've played cooperatively, we've always done what we can, especially when there's been a new patch, right, to discuss the game, like updates, the patch updates, and what's new. And this time we're not going to do that. We're going to save some time because the game's out. It's out. We're in version 48.3.2. It's here.
It's arrived.
God. It has arrived. So instead, what we're going to do is we're all in the same space together. Mal, me, you guys. We actually, neither of us have played with the release build that much, and we kind of want it that way. So we're not going to talk about it either. We're just going to experience it for the first time. We're still going to be the sadomasochists that we are in this continuing Bromance series and play on extreme difficulty. But aside from that, we are just going to jump in and play the game for the first time together and experience it with you guys watching along. So we'll talk more about the scheduling for the series at the end. But do you want to talk about the game settings and what we've got in general?
Well, I think the coolest thing is that they were able to get, and it was something that you and I both had on our wish list, was custom races in multiplayer. So I thought it was cool that it actually made it in. Yeah, I thought it was cool that it made it in for release. And we were playing around with it just a couple of minutes ago and sort of seeing what happens when you update and you change your race. Does it reflect? And it does. We'll show you all that in just a second. But let's talk about game settings, and then if you want to customize your empire, then I'll do likewise before we jump in.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
So here's the deal. If you're new to Master of Orion, and I imagine that many of you are, first off, welcome, and we hope that you enjoy your Master of Orion experience. Hadrian and I will be playing cooperatively, even though that's not technically a game setting, but what we do is if we get to a point where it looks like we've won, then we've won. Whether one of us actually gets that victory or not, then it's a win. And if we lose, which we have before, then we lose together. But we'll be playing cooperatively, so we always get messages about, well, when are you guys going to fight each other? Yeah, we won't be, so just heads up. As far as game settings,
it wouldn't go over very well.
Yeah, I don't.
Would it? Like, it just we talked about it before.
Yeah. It's just not something that either one of us is interested in doing. And who knows, maybe one day we'll do a head-to-head just for reasons. I don't know, but not in this.
And even beyond that, guys, just for those of you who might be new jumping in, because there might be some new players to Master of Orion right now that it's out of early access, the very basic reasoning, aside from the fact that we don't want to do it, is from a commentary perspective, there is so much less that we can say when we're playing against each other that it drastically changes the nature of the series. And actually, I personally don't think it would be as entertaining. I think it would be more frustrating, not only for us to play, but to watch. I could be completely wrong, but that's our impression so far. So anyway, soapbox down. You can keep talking. I'm sorry.
As far as game settings, along the thread of a lot of new people, if you want an in-depth breakdown of all of the various game settings, there'll be a link in the description of the video that'll take you to sort of a starter guide or a primer. You can check that out. All of this will be detailed there. I'm just going to specifically tell you what we're going to use. So we'll be playing on a circle galaxy type. We'll be playing on a medium-sized galaxy because we want relatively quick contact with the other empires. We'll be using average galaxy age because we want a balance of the starting planets. We'll be using starting age of post-warp, so we have some basic tech as well as a few ships. We'll be playing on extreme difficulty, which is the hardest level difficulty that is currently in the game, which is a continuing trend for us. We'll be playing with 4 AI opponents, which is the maximum for this particular setup. And then game pace, there's a lot of different choices. We're going with custom, so let me go down and cover those real quick. We've got timeline disabled, which is essentially like an autosave backup. You can essentially jump back to correct the mistake or whatever. We will be playing with that disabled, as we always do. And then in terms of the game speed settings, we're going to do research slow, production speed fast, and population growth fast as well. And the reason behind that, and Hadrian and I have played a lot and experimented with this quite a bit, for our styles, and that's exactly what this comes down to, it just seems to flow better for us, right? Because we get access to the technology, and then we get to play around with it for a while before it changes.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, I actually before we started recording, you and I were discussing something that you had commented on in one of your videos, and I've brought this up as well in mine. A lot of parallels have been drawn between some of the game design in Conquer the Stars and Civilization V. And it's very lovingly imitated. They say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Civilization V is a benchmark for turn-based PC strategy games. So there are a lot of elements that might be familiar to Civilization V players. And you mentioned that being able to slow down research speed is very similar to some of the stuff that you can do in Civilization to kind of tweak the way that the game plays in order to I think the example you gave, if you don't mind my giving it for you, is that it's the equivalent of staying in a particular age longer in Civilization V, which I prefer to play that way when I'm playing Civ, and I have often transferred that over, as you said, to Master of Orion, just because it makes for a more interesting and I also think more watchable gameplay experience.
Well, so, and yeah, not only is it more fun, in my opinion, to play with sort of the lower tech for longer, but also there's some real game implications for changing it to slow research speed. And that is once you approach the mid game and you start to have to spend money to upgrade your fleets, if you've got slow research, then you make that investment in your ships, and then it's actually worthwhile for a little while before the next sort of iteration of weapons is available. Versus if you have fast research speed, every time you turn around, you're changing your weapon systems. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like the whole hamster wheel situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the rest of the start, we have a turn timer of 60 seconds, so it'll automatically go to the next turn if we don't get done in 60 seconds. We're going to leave random events on, which means that we can have something beneficial like, research getting instantly done, or a sun going supernova in one of our systems and destroying everything. So that's good and bad, potentially. We're not playing with pirates. Hadrian, why aren't we playing with pirates? What was the reason?
I blame you. No, actually, we thoroughly agree. This has nothing to do with any strong opinions that first originated with Mal. No, but seriously, we both prefer not to play with them because they the technical term is they doth really suck.
Yeah, they doth suck. Yes, they do. And the devs continue to work on it to try to improve them. I guess more power to them. It feels like a waste of resources, in my humble opinion, because pirates add very little to the experience. But in particular, in multiplayer, pirates can have issues with sort of overwhelming the AI. And we don't want that. So if the AI comes along and smashes our collective faces, so be it. We don't want the pirates to do that for us. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, we will be playing with monsters enabled. We will allow racial traits, obviously. Balanced starting conditions, so no one gets an unfair advantage, be it us or the AI, in terms of your starting systems and where planets lay out in the systems near them. However, since we are playing on extreme, all of the AIs will get tons of bonuses to their resources. So that's one of the ways.
Yay!
Plus, yeah, and they're more aggressive. People think that the only thing that changes on the higher difficulties is resources, but that's not the case. What they're willing to colonize, how close they're willing to get to you, how quickly they're willing to go to war, all those things change on extreme difficulty. So let's see. Anything else here for starting thing? Oh, victory conditions. Right. We're going to go with score. So there's sort of a hard cap. We know that at the end of 500 turns, whoever's got the highest score wins. And then the only other victory condition will be if we eliminate all of the other AIs. We will not be using technological or economic victory types, and diplomatic, where you can be voted to the winner, so to speak, by the council, is disabled in multiplayer games for obvious reasons. Deep breath. Okay, I think that's it for settings.
You just reminded me of Jim Carrey in both of the Ace Ventura movies when he's about to explain something really, really long-winded. He does that.
Oh, wow. I do what I can.
Yeah, that was well done. All right, sorry. I'm going to randomly just crack up when I think of references in my head, guys. If you haven't watched my Let's Plays or haven't watched one of our cooperative things before, you've never witnessed it, you will, I promise. Anyway, so let me jump in and talk about how I am going to customize the Sylon, because one of the things that we're very, very excited about is that custom races are finally in multiplayer. They waited until the freaking release build to make it happen, but they made it happen.
Hey, they made it happen. That was cool.
So we are both going to individually talk about what we're going to do. So because we're each recording the series, this is going to be a little wonky because I'm going to talk about my stuff and people who are watching my videos are going to be able to see what I'm talking about. And then they're just going to have to listen to what Mal is talking about. So what I'm going to do is leave my screen up when I turn it over to Mal to talk about how he's customizing his race, so I can at least kind of show you the things that he's talking about while he's talking. But anyway, so let me go over the Sylon really quickly as they are. They are technologists, which mean that they are focused on research. They are creative, which means that as they research and they come to a branch in the tech tree, well, there's lots of branches in the tech tree, but when they come to a particular technology that requires them to make a choice, they don't have to make a choice. They get everything. They get all the tech because they're creative. And it's awesome, especially when you're playing cooperatively and can share technology. They have a small homeworld size, and their gravity tolerance is for low gravity worlds. So they can be on normal gravity worlds, and they can be on low gravity worlds. But if they run into a high gravity world, then they're going to have a bit of a problem, which makes sense. Because when you look at these little floaty Sylon guys, they kind of... you would think they might not last too long on a high gravity world. And then security is minus 20%, is lower than normal. So now let's go in and talk about how I'm going to tweak these guys to make this. The leader name is Meson. How about Medrian? How about that?
Medrian, there you go.
Medrian. I don't know if it's Meson. I don't know. Medrian sounds a bit more close to home. All right, so first of all, I'm going to re-enable everything about the Sylons that I can that we just talked about. So they still resemble the Sylons from the main game. There are a few things that are going to change though. So they're going to be technologists, again, research centric, and they're going to be creative. Again, they're going to get all that research. And they're also going to have the small homeworld size, the low gravity tolerance. And then beyond that, I can't actually re-enable the security tolerance, so that begins our little fun time of using these two available points and seeing what else we can do to customize the Sylon. One of the things I decided on doing is I actually want to slightly reduce, I guess 25% is a bit more than slightly, right? But I'm going to slightly reduce the credits that I'm getting from my population. So I'm intentionally making it a little bit tougher to make money, but I am giving myself some additional bonuses using the points I got back from that. Namely, I'm going to give myself a rich homeworld. So at the beginning of the game, my homeworld will be more productive. Given that it's a small homeworld and there's a credits bonus, that'll help offset a little bit. Another thing that will help offset is the thing I'm going to use the last of my points on, which is extra 25% population growth. So everywhere the Sylon go, they will actually grow faster as a result of my being this custom race. And check this out. One thing that's really... Oh, wait. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. That was weird for a second. When you go back to the race screen, now it actually shows you the icons as if they were the standard icons, the standard traits of the race when you first load up. I just thought that was a nice little touch. So anyway, that's the custom Sylon. Mal, take it away.
All right. So, and what I did on mine was that I showed them what you were doing while you were doing it. Okay. So I actually built your race on the screen and followed you along. Perfect. Okay, so I am going to play as the Bulrathi, or at least that's what my appearance is going to be. And I'm going to be, I guess my race will actually come from like, I don't know, like French, they'll be like French Canadian, apparently. And I'll be like, because I'll be Malbert.
Oh, you did not. Why?
Yeah.
No one's going to watch this series now.
Well, yeah, leader name, Malbert.
Okay.
And actually, I should spell it like, what? Like
insert bad Russell Crowe singing here.
Should it be spelled Malbert? I don't know. No, because I'll just stick with Malbert since I'm basically playing the Space Bears. Okay, now, the Bulrathi by default, actually, let's go back and take a look at that real quick. they start with ecologist, so they get biology and pollution tolerance. Their homeworld is rich. They start with a large homeworld. They have high gravity tolerance, so they can basically settle anywhere without any real penalties, at least in terms of gravity. And then they've got combat rating bonus. So the issue with the Bulrathi is that when you compare them to the other starting races, I think we can agree they're relatively weak in the long term. They're pretty good out of the gate because they have some additional production and they've got pollution tolerance. But I don't think they scale that well. Do you, Hadrian? Because I mean, that plus 50% combat rating to ground is sort of like meh, quite frankly.
Correct. I would agree.
So what I've chosen to do is make them hopefully good over the long term of the game. And I think it's important to note that even though we're doing custom races here, neither one of us is doing what would be considered an overpowered custom race. That's not what we're doing. If we wanted to sort of ensure that we would win, we could use some of the overpowered ones, but we're not doing that. So if he's going to be sort of our sciencey / somewhat turtle one, then I'm going to be our industry / aggressive part of the team. So I'm going to start off with industrialist for 4 points, which is going to give me starting tech of physics, and it's going to give a 25% additional production value to population. I am going to take 50%. Where is it at here? Oh, excuse me. I'm going to take minus 25% actually to research because my good buddy, the Super Psilons, will be able to help me out with tech, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to grab plus 50% to population growth. That leaves me with 2 points, which I'm going to put into large homeworld. And there you have the custom Bulrathi led by Malbear.
Excellent. Now, I was actually doing the exact same thing you described, so let me set my race back up really fast. Let's see, low gravity, rich, and then we've got the... Now we need increased population growth, so there we go.
And right here, folks, under game settings, you can see after game pace is Big Bang Seed. So if you want to play at home and use similar settings to what Hadrian and I are doing, you want to be in the same galaxy and sort of play along, then you could choose all these same AI opponents and then type in this number, 28234, and you'll have the exact same galaxy set up as us.
We just shifted into like infomercial territory for just a second. Enter this number, 28234.
This number's available for a limited time.
But it's not. You can get it for the rest of your life.
Okay, I'm double checking everything. I want to make sure we're not missing anything.
Oh yeah.
I think we're good. I want you to confirm that all the settings are right before I hit start game.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at my settings. You just went over your customization, so we're good. I think we're good. I mean, the pirates are off. That's the chief annoyance, and then we've got our slow research. Talked about this. Were we gonna go with very slow research?
We can. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We've never done it before.
We talked about it. We're turning it up to 11, so to speak, on the stuff we were already talking about earlier, as far as just the gameplay style we both prefer. The game will still end with the score victory at 500 turns, so it's not going to lengthen the actual series that much, if at all. It just changes the way it plays out.
And hopefully, according to the devs, even with future iterations of the game, which they have a lot of new things planned post-launch, with new patches, all save games are supposed to be compatible with future updates. So yay!
Yeah, that means we can actually continue to record this if the series takes a while and not worry about getting wrecked by an update, because that's never happened before.
That's never happened, ever.
We're certainly not frustrated by it / still bitter.
No, anyway. Not at all. Eyes dev team while holding some type of implement.
Okay. All right. Well. Here's one thing we have to decide, though. You know, we've got this new series. You're playing as the Bulrathi, the custom teddy bears. I'm playing as the not metallic, not red dress wearing Sylons. What do we call this series, dude?
Well, I think the coolest suggestion that we had for this one, and I'm going to apologize in advance because I don't remember who did it, but it was a great suggestion.
We didn't remember last time.
We didn't remember last time either because we're both morons apparently. But no, it would be Brains and Brawn.
Indeed. And we're going to have to come up with a clever way to say that as we record through.
Well,
we're not going to force it.
I was trying this earlier, and I was like, it's brains and brawn. Like, I'd have to do it like something like that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Whatever we do.
All right, so are you ready up?
Yeah, I think I am. And because this is, we're about 20 minutes in, so this has been a pretty good little episode 0, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, all we're going to do at this point, folks, is go into episode 1. So hopefully you understood that this was just the intro to the series.
Yeah, we obviously haven't done this in a while. So typically at the beginning of an episode 0, whether it's a co-op Let's Play or not, we would be like, hey, you don't have to watch this. This is just us talking for 20 minutes.
I'm going to put some kind of overlay at the beginning so that people don't get all mad.
You can skip this, for the love of God. You don't have to listen to us ramble unless you want to, which some of you do, which we appreciate.
We do appreciate.
Thank you for watching the entire episode 0.
We do.
Because it means a lot to us. So anyway, but yes, we will go ahead and cut this one here. You guys that have been on both of our channels watching the stuff, or maybe you've been on one or the other channel, but you know we follow the same schedule every time. We're going to keep it going. New episodes of Brains and Brawn, or however the hell we're going to say it, are coming.
That works. That's
it. Come out, whatever. Are coming out every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then depending on your time zone, that's GMT -4 for those of you who just need a basic Greenwich Mean Time reference point for Eastern Daylight Time. And of course, Daylight Savings Time is going to come along decently soon, probably not while this series is going, but make it GMT -5. But anyway, we're going to do new stuff every day at 9 in Eastern Time. And then I think, unless you have anything more to add, we can go ahead and cut this one here, buddy.
Yep. So we hope that you will enjoy this series. We look forward to your comments and feedback and all that good stuff. And, bromance, brains, and brawn, or something to that effect. Anyway, we hope that you watch. We hope that you enjoy it. Thanks so much, folks. He's Hadrian, I'm Mal, and we will see you later.